So, hello everyone, my name is Peter or Petr, and I've prepared a presentation about reporting under control. During my presentation, I would like to show you how even small changes in your data pipeline or in your code can affect your reports and your dashboards. And by effect, of course, I mean in a negative way. And I would like to also show you or share with you how we at Productboard tackle these situations and how we are trying to avoid them, and how we are trying to minimize the risk. So first of all, I would like to start with the story. Let's imagine that you work as a data engineer or data analyst, and you have this nice business overview dashboard. This dashboard is quite important because it's used by the top management of your company, and they use it for every month board meeting. So the dashboard is well validated, 100 times checked, and they are relying on the data from this dashboard, and it's important because they are making like critical decisions based on the dashboard. And then you just go to the dashboard and press the refresh button, and you see something like this. As you can see, the first chart is like totally messed because it's 100 times multiplied, and the second chart, there are no data there. So you know that there is some issue with your data pipeline. The board meeting is happening today, so you are you have an issue, or even maybe I would say you have a problem, because the level of stress is increasing, you don't know what's going on, and you have to fix it, and you have to fix it like very quickly. Believe me or not, the situation can be even worse. You can press the refresh button and you can see something like this. So the data are not correct, and somebody edited your dashboard, and you can see that instead of like column chart, you can see pie chart there. And you don't know what's going on. And you most probably feel like this. So the question is how to prevent these situations, and how to make sure that this is not happening to you quite often. And if you work as a data engineer or data analyst, I believe that sometimes it will happen to you, but you have to try to minimize this and try to avoid this as much as possible. And that's actually the question I would like to try to answer during my presentation. So at Productboard, we have decided to use Looker as our main business intelligence and reporting tool. And if I had to say one thing I really like about Looker, so I would mention that you can define everything as a code in Looker, which is like great function, because Looker use LookML language, and you can basically define there everything. So in this example, you can, for example, see the definition of view, which you can imagine it as a table. So for example, if you have some table in your database and you want to use it for reporting, you have to go and you have to define it as code in your basically in Looker. So you can see that there is the definition of dimension, there is definition of measure, and you have to basically define everything as a code. If you want to use these views in your reports, and you want to build some reports, you have to define it in explores. So you basically explore is the definition of some tables, and you are defining the relationship between these tables, and you are defining joins, you are defining basically the relation between these tables. The very important thing is that you don't need to write any SQL code. So you just defining the relation between these tables, and then based on the definition you choose, and based on the measures you choose into your reports, Looker will auto-generate the SQL code, and it will minimize the issue that you will make a mistake in your SQL code, or you cannot do any typos there, and so on. Very important thing here is that thanks to this thanks to this language, which is used in Looker, it's called LookML, we can use very good known processes from software engineering and apply them to data analytics and data engineering world. And by these processes, of course, I mean PR reviews and automated tests in our CI pipelines. So PR reviews. So if I want to do some changes in my reports, I have to go. I have to basically check out new branch, do some edits, add the description. You know, write there some context why I want to do these changes and so on. Send it to my teammates, for example, to Honza there. Honza will just have a look on the change, and if he thinks that the edit makes sense and that it's correct, he will just approve the PR, and I can merge it to production. So what does it mean? It means that I cannot basically do anything in production without anyone else to having a look on the edit. And basically, there is the second eye check that I cannot do it on my own. The second thing is some automated checks. The first category of checks we are using is some linter checks. So we are doing some let's say code validation that the code is on some level of standard. So there are some descriptions and so on. The second category of checks we are using is built-in function, which is built-in function in Looker, and it's called content validator. This content validator is, I would say, a really good feature because it allows us to basically validate if I'm doing some change in my code. It will validate that it makes sense and the work and the code works like together. So the example is that if I want to remove some dimension, it's quite hard in other tools to remove the dimension and make sure that I will not break any reports and any dashboards. This content validator will make sure that if I am using this dimension in some other dashboards and other reports, it will basically identify me the places where I use it. And I can make sure that if I want to remove something from my code, that it's not used in any other dashboard or any other report. So first of all, I have to go fix it in these dashboards, remove it from there, and then I can remove it from code. And the last, but definitely not least, category of code or test I want to mention here is basically data test check. What we are doing, maybe I didn't mention it, or yeah, I mentioned it, that Looker is generating the SQL code, so you don't need to write SQL code. And what we are doing is that if we have identified very critical areas for us, such as revenue data, marketing data, or sales data, and we are doing that. We are basically comparing we have covered these areas by tests, and we are comparing the result for the test on production and on the development code. And then we are basically comparing the results we are getting from these two separated data sets. And if these data sets are different, it means that we basically change the production or the behavior on production, and we have to validate it. Sometimes it's expected. For example, if you are fixing some bugs or doing something like that, it's fully expected that the result will be changed. But sometimes you just realize that you did something that you didn't expect, and half of your reports will return different data. Here is just small example of this. Let's imagine this very easy PR where I decided to change only like one relation between tables. So the previous one, there was the relationship between marketing person and marketing opportunity, and I decided to change it from left join to inner join. So like very easy PR. And this is the visualization of the test. You can see that production, which is with the left join, it will return me totally different data than on dev branch. So I can decide if it's like expected or not, and I can behave based on that. So I can, if I will be like surprised that, hey, this is like, I didn't expect that, I have to go and I have to decide like what's going on and why it's happening. And here is just screenshot of this test. So you can see this is my CI pipeline. I can see that all the other tests are successful and this one is failed. And on the right side, you can see there the screenshot of test look, which is basically in the red rectangle. You can see there the comparison of the data sets. So you can see that May data, April data, and also March data are like different on dev branch and production. So again, as I said, I'm not saying that it's always wrong. It can be that you are fixing some bugs, so it's fully expected that you will get different data sets. But sometimes you just doing some minor changes and you don't expect to change your production data. Well, and maybe you are asking that this is just about doing some data validation and so on. But at the beginning, I've shown you that there are also some like some changes on your dashboard, such as changing filters, changing visualization type, or just changing layout and so on. Looker offers us I would say good feature, which is dashboard as a code, or you can say LookML dashboard. And I'm not saying that it's good feature for all the dashboards, but I think that it's quite good to identify like business critical dashboards and make sure that like nobody can change these dashboards, because you are relying on these dashboards, and this like code representation of your dashboards, this will make sure that you cannot go and you cannot like change your dashboard without PR review and without someone that will approve this change. So I think that it's quite like powerful feature for some, as I said, some business overview dashboards and business critical dashboards. And if I want to just mention like one thing I would like you to remember from this presentation. So I would say just always make sure that you can trust the data you report, and always make sure that you are doing some data validations and so on. And that's all from me. So thank you for your attention, and yeah, that's it. Yeah. So the first question is about the learning curve and of creating reports as a code versus clicking, for example, in Power BI. I would say that like writing dashboard as a code in Looker is quite difficult, but it's basically possible to do the dashboard, just drag and drop things, click it there, and then convert it to code. So it's quite easy to build like dashboard as a code in Looker, but I wouldn't be able to just go there and write the code on my own. I'm always converting the dashboard to the code by the function that I can convert it from the normal dashboard. So what are the advantages of using Looker compared to Power BI or Tableau? So the biggest advantage, I would say, is the the lookml. So as I said, you can define everything as code. The second thing is the content validator. So you can quite easily see the impact of your changes. You can validate that this dimension, which I want to, for example, edit or I want to remove, is not used anywhere else in Looker. And the last advantage is quite good compatibility with Git. So you can do your PR reviews, you can do code versioning and other cool things. Could you please write or show the exact name of the reporting tool that is presented? I'm not sure if I understand the questions because the question, because all the screenshots were from Looker. So yeah, maybe some joke. That's it. Thank you.